Well, tonight's the night, boys. John Cena, the man that we couldn't see for 20 plus years, is finally disappearing. That was corny as hell. But yeah, man, it's I don't know. It's I feel a lot of emotions about it, and the reason I wanted to make a video about it is because I think it symbolizes something um for me, and I think a lot of other people my age. Childhood's over, boys. Childhood's dead. I mean, like, yeah, duh, childhood's dead. I'm 26 years old. It's been dead for a while, but um, I just I don't know. There's something that's so heavy about this, and you know, I've tried to keep up with professional wrestling throughout the years. I the past ever since 2020 or 2021, um, once I became an adult, I kind of got back into it. I lost interest throughout some of my teen years. This is just some childhood. This is just some baby stuff. Fake people in underwear fighting, and I came back to it. Um, Once I grew up and kind of wanted to relive some of my childhood interests because, I've been studying some philosophy and some philosophers like Carl Jung and the 12 archetypes and everything. And one of the archetypes is your inner child. I think it's just inner child. There might be another name for it, but if you could tell by my videos, because I made a few videos about childhood, I am pretty in touch with my inner child, and I think that's important to stay in touch with your inner child and make the younger you proud of the current you. But anyways, um yeah, I just really can't get into the whole modern wrestling. I went to a lot of shows to see some of my favorite stars from the past before they retire, because that's something I've been really committed to doing in my 20s, is just seeing a lot of these whether it's bands or different artists, or comedians, or wrestlers that I grew up watching, and seeing them while they're still active. And thankfully I was able to see John Cena live before he retired. It was back in 2022. I think it was the only match he did in 2022. It was the New Year's episode of SmackDown in Tampa, Florida. Um, so I was able to see him. I got a shirt, which I'm definitely going to be wearing tonight for his show. So I'm happy I got to share an arena with him. For the second time in my life, I also went when I was a little kid to see him at some house show back in like 2009. Um, but yeah, this goes beyond, John Cena and wrestling and all of that. Because yeah, like I said, I'm really not a fan of the current day wrestling. I've tried to get into it, but it just doesn't hit the same. It's I don't want to be one of those old heads. It's like, oh, it was better when I was a kid. But I'm gonna be one of those old heads. It was better when I was a kid. It just was. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, younger generation, but yeah, y'all just don't know what you missed out on. Um, but yeah, it's a sign of the times that it's time to let go. And it's bittersweet because I I it's change is inevitable. Change is one of the only things we're guaranteed in this life. And as much as I preach that it's important to stay in tune with your inner child, you can't live in the past. You can't. Trust me, I did it for a long time, you know, but the past doesn't exist. When the past existed, it was the present, and now that it's gone, it's just memories. And if you live your life just looking back and wanting to revert things back to how they used to be, you're just trying you're just trying to push a boulder up a hill. It's just not. It's you're gonna you're not gonna live a satisfying life. Um, so I'm taking this moment in my life, and I'm using it as a um I'm using it as a reminder that it's important to keep pushing forward and to create new memories, create times that we'll live right now that we'll look back on in 10, 20 years, and that I'll, look back on with fondness and satisfaction, because you know, one day I'm not going to be in my 20s anymore. One day I'm going to hit my 30s and 40s and be middle-aged, and I'm going to look back and romanticize these times. And I think it was pretty cool that I was able to grow up with an influence like John Cena. And I know, it's fake wrestling, it's bait. I get all that, but and I know John Cena is controversial. He's nobody's perfect, but um I think we can take something out of what he preached, hustle, loyalty, and respect, never give up. Um those are those are those are traits that I always try to hold on to in my life, as corny as it sounds. It's, it's true. And John Cena never had any kids, I don't think. He did like the most make-a-wishes out of I think anyone. He's like the top make-a-wish celebrity. And it kind of seems like he never had kids on purpose. It was like he raised a whole generation um with his work in WWE. And I'm really grateful that we had a figure in media like that tried that represented those values. And um it's like a passing of the torch moment. It's like, we're all grown up, his work is done, and now it's our time to lead the next generation, to lead the younger kids. And yeah, it's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet. Um, and I'm happy to have shared this because I see on social media a lot of people share the sentiment. A lot of people are getting really sentimental about it, and it's the ending of a chapter. We're closing this book on our lives, and it's a good thing. We're at that age to where it's time to use all the lessons that we were taught when we were young. Take all the good influences um, from different people and apply it to ourselves in our own lives, and carve a better path for the next generation, which is what I'm gonna do, which is what I work towards every day, is being the best man I can be, being a leader, um, being able to put myself in a position where I can provide for my future family and my future self, and my current self, and just use every opportunity that's been given to me to my fullest abilities. And yeah, that's about it. I'll be tuning in tonight to his match. And I yeah, it's we we have we have a very limited time here on this earth, and we have an even more limited prime of our lives. It's time is the only thing that we can only use once and never get back. And I intend to make my short time on this earth as impactful as I can possibly make it. And whatever I choose to pursue in the future, and the projects that I'm working on now in my life, um, I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure I succeed with all of my endeavors. But even if I don't, I'll know that I gave it my best shot and I never gave up. And I I've showed myself already that I can I can do a hell of a lot, and I have the potential to do a hell of a lot more. And each day I wake up with that same sentiment in my mind, is that I'm capable of whatever the hell I want to do in my life. So, thanks for watching, guys. I know if you're not a wrestling fan, you're probably like, why the hell is this dude so freaking choked up about some freaking fake wrestler, some millionaire that doesn't, that lives at whatever. But um yeah, like I said, it's not about the wrestling. It's just about um what he represented for me and my generation. And it's all right. His time is up and our time is now. Yeah, I'm gonna stop with the corny shit. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it as always. If I could get a like, a comment, a subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all tonight. Peace.